Hello and welcome. I'm truly excited to share this conversation with you today because it's truly special. If you've ever felt like there's something more to life, something beyond what we can see and touch, then you're in the right place. In this interview, I sit down with the incredible Dr. Stanzie Langtree, an internationally renowned spiritual healer, speaker, and doctor whose journey from science to spirituality is nothing short of inspiring. Dr. Stanzie has helped thousands of people worldwide, including myself, align with their true essence, release deep-seated blocks, and step into their highest potential. She's worked with world-renowned figures like Tony Robbins or Dr. Joe DiMartini, but more importantly, she's here to share her wisdom with you today. In this conversation, we dive deep into how to align with your soul and manifest your dream life, the power of energy working, healing, and creating abundance, overcoming the blocks that hold you back, and the incredible potential of kundalini activation and energetic alignment. So whether you're just starting your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your connection, I know you'll walk away from this conversation feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to embrace your path with renewed clarity.
Right. Hello.
Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Stanzie. How are you today?
Hi. Great. It's so great to see you and be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we were just talking before putting the live button, clicking on the live button. We're talking about how long it's been that we've known each other and that we haven't talked to each other as well. But I've been following your work for I think 5 or 6 years now. I've been to 2 of your retreats, one event in Hawaii, and following your work on social media and all. And it's been a real pleasure, and I really love and appreciate what you do. We're going to talk about it in a second, and you're going to introduce to us what you do. But I just want to say thank you. First of all, thank you for taking on the time and for, everything that you share, which is really inspiring, from your lifestyle to your choices that you made in life to really the work that you do now, because you are a spiritual healer, a musician, a traveler, a speaker. You do so many things, which is really amazing. But you come from a very scientific background, if I'm not mistaken. You are a doctor of chiropractic, have a master's in exercise science. Well, you have a whole life before doing what you do now. And now you channel energies and you work on people all over the world. So can you tell us a bit more about your journey, how you ended up doing what you do? Because it's quite the journey, I think.
Yeah, it has been a journey. And originally, I am a doctor of chiropractic. And so I started out really on the science path, did 8 years of college studies, and was really into the science and wanting to have the research for everything. And then I got into my practice and started going on my own healing journey and healing stuff that I had to release, childhood traumas and trying to deal with, relationship challenges. And as I was doing all this healing work, my connection to energy just opened up, and I started to have lots of insights, downloads that were guiding me on my path. And so while I was working as a chiropractor in my practice, I started to have all kinds of visions, insights, intuitions, like, oh, this person has energy blocked in this area of their spine. And if we could just get that energy flowing, then all these physical problems would change. And initially, my rational mind was like, this is crazy talk. It's cool. I know I'm doing the healing journey, but I don't know what to make of all these insights. But then the visions, the insights became stronger, and I started to trust that. And I started to work with the patients that were open to try more of an energetic approach. And the results were just blowing my mind. I mean, people were having like full energy releases and spiritual awakenings on my chiropractic tables. And people would come in and say, oh, I've had back pain for 10 years and nothing works. And then I'd guide them to release the emotions and the energy, and then poof, all of a sudden the back pain is gone miraculously. So I really started to discover that I had healing gifts in my practice, and then kind of like a scientist, seeing the results step by step until I finally was like, I have to trust this higher source of energy that's coming through. And then it just took off even more from there. So
Yeah.
it's, it's been a wild ride, but amazing and so rewarding.
Of course. And it's so inspiring hearing that story, knowing that you come from that scientific background, rational mind, because so many people are stuck in that. And, even in taking on decisions in their life or projects, they approach life based on that rational mind, thought level. And you were able to get past that. So you were already in a healing career. Why was that? What motivated you to really embark on that trajectory and then continue on with spiritual healing?
Yeah, I like initially when I started with chiropractic, what got me there. So originally I was going to be a veterinarian actually, and I just, started to feel like that wasn't the right path. And I sort of took a leap and decided to go to the chiropractic route. And I just always had sort of a spiritual curiosity, and chiropractic has like the background of originally chiropractic is sort of a spiritual approach where they say the spine is this channel for, source energy and life force energy. And then if you adjust the spine, then you open up that spine for flowing energy. So I thought, okay, I was really drawn to that. And I was like, I think I'm going to go and be a chiropractor. And then when I went to chiropractic school, I ended up picking the most medical chiropractic school out there. And all that spiritual stuff did not come in at all. So I ended up having to rediscover that later on. And then as I was in my practice and seeing these results with people working with energy, I just couldn't ignore that. And the cool thing, so it led me to all kinds of crazy opportunities. Like I ended up working on Tony Robbins as his private healer for quite a while. And, I thought, so I had that as like an intention. Like I wanted to work on Tony Robbins because I really liked what he was teaching. And I knew that he had lots of healers and chiropractors that were working on him all the time. So I thought, oh, wow, how cool would it be if I was his chiropractor and healer? So I thought that would take 10 years to manifest. And it ended up manifesting in like 6 months. It was so fast. And it wasn't in the way that my mind thought it would happen. Like we think, oh, if I do these certain steps, then I'll eventually get there. So I thought, oh, I'll have to prove I'm the best, chiropractor and healer. And it ended up in a totally random way where he came to Portland, where I had my practice and was living at the time. And he hadn't been there in like 15 years. It was like this big deal that he was coming back to Portland. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to get, front row tickets because I want to, meet other Tony Robbins fans. And he did this thing that he doesn't normally do at his seminars is he invited all the front row to go backstage and to meet him after. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And so I go back there and he's asking everyone, like, what do you do? And so I told him, well, I do energy healing and I'm a chiropractor. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. And, and I was like, I could tell that, he had some like shoulder pain going on just because he was carrying his body a certain way. And It's like, well, would you like a session? Which normally for me, I'm not that like, I'm kind of shy actually in personal interactions. So it's not like me to just say that, but I just felt I had to. And he was like, I would love that. And so then I just happened to have a portable chiropractic table in my car because I used to do like sport events. And there it all happened. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I
Wow.
can't believe I just manifested this. So anyway, that was, one of many things that just started manifesting as I not only did my inner work, but then embraced, you know, the energy that was flowing through and what my soul was calling me to do, which was the healing work, And when I stepped into alignment with that and started to trust it, more things lined up. And so I ended up working, like I said, on Tony Robbins and then all kinds of people, famous people. And I never thought that that was going to be something that I would be doing in my life. So it's pretty incredible what happens when you follow your soul's calling.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I love that story because it's one of many that you have, but it has so many nuggets of wisdom to unfold. I love it because you talk about, following the call of the soul, which is a topic I talk about and teach about a lot, like
Mm.
how to reconnect with your soul. And it's funny because the mind has a way of working, right? You thought you would need 10 years. The mind starts to create a map of, steps to follow and a timeline and a way of how it's gonna, manifest. And all of those stories that we get or we might be attached to.
Mm-hmm.
And the soul has another way of working. The soul is like, okay, you are ready to take on this journey of healing, and all right, let's go, let's do it. And you were able to surrender to that call and those intuitions and manifests all sorts of crazy and beautiful opportunities for you. And I think it's a beautiful, yeah, story, very inspiring. And what would you say, because you said you did some inner work and
Mm-hmm.
you said also yes to that calling, even though it wasn't maybe like conscious, but you answered to that nudge that you felt inside. And you talked just before about how when you worked on your clients in chiropractic, you felt they had some emotions stuck in their spine and that the energy gets moving and that it can change, the way the body works and the pains and all, but it can also change our life, the opportunities we create and the life we manifest. Can you talk about that process a little bit and maybe explain how does this inner work can actually manifest opportunities or health or wealth or whatever it is?
Yeah, you're speaking my language because the, the key, I think one of the keys to manifesting is we have to do the inner work. And I think there's so much out there about law of attraction, create your vision board, and all of that stuff is good. And we want to do that. We want to have a clear focus. But if we have unhealed stuff in our body, in our energy field, then that's sending out signals. I call them divergent signals to the universe. So it's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. And then this other part's like, I'm not worthy of money, and that's two different signals. So it's going to get very confusing for the universe to send back to you what you want. It's going to take a long time as well. And so what I found on my journey is that every time I did inner work to release and heal, an emotional blockage, a trauma, whatever was coming up at that time. When I healed that, something on my list would manifest like that. And it was just like, so we can write down our lists and we want to write our intentions.
Mm. So
And
first
then,
step would be getting clear, or one of the first steps, getting clear on
yeah,
the vision, right? Okay.
yeah, get it clear on your vision, know what you want, and then give it to the universe. Trust the universe is aligning things, and then do your work, inner work. And so inner work means that we have to go in and feel those parts that are blocked. So if you know that you write down, I want to be a millionaire, just as an example, but right in the back of your mind, there's a part of you that's saying, yeah, you can't do that, or, you're not enough, or whatever it is that comes up. That's the part that has to be healed. And so then the inner work is going in and finding where that is anchored in your body. And so this is what I really gained from the chiropractic journey to here to doing what I do now, because that is often the missing piece in healing work, is that it's either just all in the thinking mind, or it's just focusing on energy but not the body. And all of these areas that we struggle with, these limiting beliefs, challenges, blockages we have in life, they all anchor into the body. And so if we go in and actually feel and be with that part, then we can release it. And then that energy liberates, and we have free flowing energy. So if there's a part that's like, I'm not enough to be this person that I want to be, that energy is literally bound up in your body somewhere. And it's often stuck in your tissues, like your muscles. So if you have an area that's painful, that's your body yelling out to you, hey, something's not working here. Something's out of alignment. Please pay attention. And then you can go in, feel that part, and then it will release. And then that energy that's been blocked up, free flowing energy that we can then direct into what we want. And that will accelerate manifesting. So that's one of the key points of the energetic alignment work that I do, is I have a whole process on how to find where that energy is blocked in the body, and then how to effectively release it. Yeah.
Super powerful, and I've experienced it, and I can testify firsthand how powerful it can be and how things can manifest afterwards. And also, you said a word which is key, and which is feel. You have to feel at some point what you're avoiding, what you're trying to, step around and not really get in touch with, because it's still here. You carry it, even though you may travel or do so many things or get busy. It's still in your body, it's still inside. And a lot of us are afraid to feel, and you must encounter that all the time within, your clients, and when you had your chiropractic practice. And so how does one start to feel? Because first of all, it can be super scary. I know people who've had so much trauma, they don't know where to start. Some of them aren't even aware of the amount of things they have to feel. And you get to, they block and they block and they block it. And then it's like a thick layer of traumas or emotions. And I'm like, whew, when they will open the gate, it will be super intense for them. And yeah, so you've worked with so many clients, especially on that. What would you say is the first step to feeling, to get in touch with the feeling and to free that energy?
Yeah. So first, I just want to touch on what you shared about the people that have all those layers built up, and it's like, what's going to happen when that releases?
Yeah.
So the cool thing, it sucks when we have traumas and challenges and baggage we have to unpack, but the people that have the most bound up energy will often have the biggest awakening and transformation. So imagine if you have all this stuff pent up and then you finally liberate it. The awakening experiences, or the energy that, if you just want to call it energy, that you can experience is crazy amounts. So like, I had a lot of stuff buried in there when I went on my healing journey. And when I healed and released some of these emotions, like I had so much grief that I had never touched on until my healing journey. And then I was having like the most profound spiritual awakenings, and getting the downloads of how to heal people. So it's, it's pretty amazing what can come out of that. But, yeah. So anyway, I wanted to share about that, but
Yeah,
I forgot what
beautiful.
your
Thank
question
you.
was now.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Even I was really into what you were saying. I'm like, yeah. I thought maybe it was most important to share because so many people are like, oh, I'm desperate. I have so many things. I don't know where to start. And yeah, so thank you for that message of
There's
hope.
hope. There's hope.
I guess the question was, so for where does one start to get in touch with those feelings, because some people are aware. They know they have stuff. They just don't know how to access it.
Yes. Oh yeah. Feeling. That's right. So feeling, you have to literally retrain yourself how to feel, and it takes practice. Like sometimes I'll have people that are so in their head. Like a lot of times it's like the scientists, the medical doctors, and they're so in here that sometimes it takes like multiple sessions just to teach them how to feel their body. So here's what will happen. I might say, okay, so think about this challenge that you have going on right now. And then they'll think about it and then say, okay, where do you feel that? Or what are you feeling in your body right now? And they'll be like, oh, well, it's just this work drama that I have right now, or this project that I got to do, or it was this childhood trauma that I had. And that's why I've got this, it's all mental chatter, right? So then I say, okay, now what are you feeling? What are the sensations in your body? Sometimes they're like, I don't feel anything. But usually when they drop in, they feel, and then they're able to say things like, oh, well, yeah, my chest feels blocked or heavy, or, I feel tingling in my feet, or I feel an empty kind of, space in my belly, so being able to describe the sensations. And that is a practice on its own, and a practice that someone could do by themselves too. It's really good. Like if you're going through your day and you feel anxious all of a sudden, it's like, all amped up. And when we're anxious, the mind is going like this. So if we can pause and go, how am I feeling right now? What is going on in my body? Oh, I feel like a fluttering in my stomach. I feel contracted through my throat. I feel like I can't breathe that well. And then when you start naming and being with those feelings, sometimes that's enough to allow those feelings to shift. Or those feelings can give you insights like, oh yeah, I'm actually, this reminds me of a feeling when I was a child and, I didn't have safety in my home, and then we can start to acknowledge those feelings and let them come out, because feelings need to come out. They don't need to stay in here. Okay. And that's where the problem is. When we avoid them, they just get stuck and they hang out under the radar, and then they wreak havoc on our body and our life. So feeling them helps them to come out.
So powerful, such a simple yet transformative practice that we might often forget, because I see in the people who follow me, and since many years that I've been sharing on those spiritual topics, I see a lot of people who have what I call is like the, good pupil syndrome. It's like they read all the books and they do everything, perfectly, and they know all of the concepts, which is wonderful, but they never stop to actually feel and experience what they're reading about or what they're hearing in videos that they watch. And I feel like your work is very useful for that. Is a wonderful and great reminder, not even just a reminder, but like a space to not only understand things, but actually liberate them from within, from the body, from the energy field, and feel before and after. Because sometimes when you hear a concept that really resonates with you, what it does is that not only you understand it through your brain, but it's touching something deep within you, right? And it's transforming you in a way. But
Yeah.
if we just keep on like feeding our mind with new ideas and concepts and videos and books, which can be great because I'm a big reader, but
Yeah.
and if you never like actually feel, let your soul like answer, feel the vibration that you get from what is shared, then you have no discernment and you have no space really to free your trauma, release the emotions, like you said, which we often hear emotion, is energy in motion and needs to be
Yes.
released. You often say, which is something I remember from a retreat, which I love, is that emotion needs to come out, like energy needs to come out, like with movement, with sound. Can you share about that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that you remembered that.
Yeah, I remember many things. I was actually present in my body, listening
You
and
you
doing the
were. I
things.
know you were. A plus plus student.
I'm the good pupil that I just talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, except you embody it, there are
I'm
like
trying anyway.
yeah. It is important that we embody these things that we're
Yes,
learning.
it's the
And
word.
people will say to me, "Oh, teach me, your healing approach. Teach me what you do." And they're like, "I've already done a Reiki course and I've done a course in this and that and I've read all these books and what else can I read?" And I'm like, "You've already got so many tools, so many books, and you know, there's got to be a point where you embody, the teachings, you embody the practitioner, you uh, develop your channel and start trusting that, because that's where we get mastery as healers. It's not just, oh, I follow the protocol. It's mastering your ability to work with the energy and letting that higher source of energy work through you. So anyway, that's another tangent. But back to what you're saying, the four aspects of emotion. So to get emotion to express, we have to feel it, which we just talked about. We are breathing. Of course, we're always breathing. We are making sound. So if we're laughing, ha 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 ha, right? We're feeling something's funny. We're breathing and we're ha ha ha. And our body's moving, ha ha ha. Okay. So we have feeling, making sound, breathing, and movement. And these are the aspects that help us to feel and release emotions. And it's a big part of how I help people to guide them to find and release emotions and other stuff, other blockages from the body.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see that every time people get to release something, they feel completely different afterward. They were smiling, they were more relaxed, maybe their body, they are in a different posture, so many like visible things that you can see. And then it continues on to transformations in the actual life, in the opportunities, in the manifestations, in the relationships, in the financial situation, in everything like that continues on and on and on. Would you want to share maybe how? So you shared the Tony Robbins story, which is amazing, and I think people will get like, oh, because Tony Robbins is so famous, it will strike a lot of people, I think. But maybe a story of something that you manifested, or maybe one of your clients manifested right after having a release, a vibrational shift. I think
Yeah.
the stories are always like,
Oh,
what
there's
strikes the
so
mind.
many.
And yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And
There's
I
so
know a little bit
many.
of your life. So yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. And it's just like miraculous. Even my rational science brain still occasionally is like, having skeptical moments, and then these miraculous things happen all the time, and it's like, really, how could you doubt at this point? But gosh, I've had so many personally, but as far as ones that come to mind that are like really quick and instant are ones that I've seen with clients where I had a session with this guy who he had all this insurance money that was owed to him. And they were like, no, we're not paying it. And he was like, oh, this is, he was so upset about it because he was expecting that money. And I was like, okay, well, let's just work on the feelings that are going on within you, because what we feel here and those blockages create our external world. And then he was sharing something about how he wasn't feeling enough and feeling insecure or something like that. And so we did the process to heal that. It was not a session focused on the money, but it was a deeper layer related to the money issue. And within an hour, he got an email and they sent it on over. Yeah. So, it's just
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then, I've had so many different ways that's happened. It's really common with relationships. So I had this lady come to a retreat in Hawaii, actually, and she hadn't spoken to her mother in years. And then we were doing, the healing process and releasing stuff. And the next morning, her mother was calling her and was like, hey, where are you? I'm at your house, just acting like all's good, all's normal. She's like, I'm not home. I'm at a retreat right now. But even our dynamics with people, we think we have to go and have a discussion with everyone, and try to work it out. And sometimes we do. But sometimes when we release that energetic blockage, it shifts the dynamic of our relationships, and people will show up differently. They will, become more connected or supported, or, it's just amazing how those things can shift.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think it also, through the stories, it reminds us a few things. First of all, that it's possible, that faith is incredible. Like, you when you put aside the rational mind for a minute, it creates space for so many miraculous experiences to happen. And what I love about those stories as well is that, first of all, when you surrender to something higher, when you put aside the story that the mind creates about how it's going to come, about what should happen, what is possible, what is not possible, you really become a magnet to miracles that you don't even know can happen, that you can't even fathom in the moment. Like your Tony Robbins story. Like, I've had stories too where in my first book, I manifested it within a few months, and I was like an unknown person. And I thought maybe I would need like 5 years to get my work, going. And then I really let myself believe that it was possible for me to be an author. I had it really so deeply in my heart that within really, like, I think it was 4 months, without doing anything, just following my intuition, I got a call from someone saying, okay, we're really interested in you. Do you have a book idea? And I was working on a book already. I had a manuscript ready. And crazy stories like that. And the publisher was actually the publisher that I've been wanting to work with for so many years prior to that. So many stories like that where, okay, the mind is great to, rationalize, to organize, to analyze, but sometimes we need to like quiet it a bit. And like you said, and feel and let ourselves be surprised by what the universe has in store for us. So I think this is one of the first keys and nuggets of wisdom that we can take from the stories that you share. And also how we can only do the inner work. We can try to change people for years and decades, and it's not going to go anywhere. But when we let go of that and just tap within and connect to what's already there, our reality will change in ways that we can't really predict. And I find it incredible because we might know the concept of that, but experiencing it over and over again is always like a new lesson of faith. And
so much. I know. It's, by the way, I love that story about your book. It's just so inspiring. And I, I think it's like that, like when there's a couple and they're having a hard time and one person's really needy and the other person's like, like, give me some space. And so then the person that wants space, they just like, they move on. They're like, okay, I'm done with this. And the needy person is like, come back. Mm-hmm. And then there's a point where that the needy person is like, oh, I give up. Like, I'm letting go. I'm moving on. And they start working on themselves, feeling good, And then what happens? That person, hey, what you doing?
How are you? What you been up to?
Yeah. So it's like the energy of being attached to something creates resistance. So when we're attached even to our visions, our goals, our intentions, are like, oh, I gotta have this thing happen. We're the needy person, and the universe is like, we're pushing away, we're creating resistance through the energy field. And then when we just say, okay, I give it up to the universe, I don't know how it's gonna happen, then it creates space for grace and things can align. That was like for me with my music. I mean, I literally had no idea how I was going to get on the radio. I was like,
I had all these. That. Yes, please tell us about that story. I love it.
Yeah, I was actually on my way to see you in Hawaii and hang out. But so I had just recorded some of my first songs, and I had actually a client. She was so sweet. She like knew that I had these music visions and I had no idea what to do with it. And she was like, here's some steps that you can do, to start getting your music recorded. And anyway, so there's a list of things. And one of them was you have to get your music on the radio. And I was like, how? I don't know anybody in the radio. I don't know how the heck that's going to happen. And as far as I know, you pretty much have to be like a famous person to get on the radio or have a record label or whatever. So I'm on the airplane flying from Australia, where I used to live, to Hawaii to go on a little, I don't know, that was like a mix of working, vacation, all kinds of things. Yeah. And anyway, on the airplane, I'm sitting next to this guy and he was really friendly. And he's like, oh, hey, what do you do? And blah, blah, blah. And I was telling him, oh, I do, healing retreats. And he was like, oh, that's so cool. And he was excited about it. And then he was like, well, I do ads on radio stations all over Australia and even in the US. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. I was like, well, maybe you can, give me some advice. I'm just, I'm supposed to get my new song on the radio. I have no idea. I've just given it to the universe. I have no idea how that's going to happen. He's like, oh, well, I have plenty of contacts. Once your song is released, just send it over to me and I'll send it on to some different radio stations. And guess what? My first ever song was on multiple radio stations.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just, blows your mind how these things, but that's what I did. I gave it up to the universe. I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but source, help me out.
Exactly. That's the thing. When you have faith, universe answers. And when you said, you're the needy person is actually saying to the universe in a different language, I I'm lacking. I'm lacking what I want. I'm
Mm-hmm.
lacking what I need. I don't have enough. And so they're always vibrating this scarcity energy, this lacking energy, this I'm not
Mm-hmm.
full, I'm not abundant, I'm not rich in so many ways. And so when you live the rich way, the rich, I don't know, the abundant way, but I mean rich and abundant in so many different, meanings,
Mm-hmm.
then the universe is like, oh, okay, of course. And it gets delivered on a platter. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You also talked about alignment, like
Mm-hmm.
everything comes in alignment. And one of the retreats that we did was called Align to Divine. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something that you share about a lot. And I love this notion of alignment because I talk about how to align your personality to the greater wisdom of the soul, how to, infuse your incarnated personality, identity to something bigger that is also wiser and older than just your personality, which is the soul. And I love your perspective on alignment and getting centered. And
Mm-hmm.
you share that in the work that you do, physical work, in the healing sessions that you do. You put people in alignment. And it's also,
Yeah.
the story of chiropractics, right?
Yeah,
It's the question of
exactly.
alignment. So it seems like it's a very central theme in your life and your work. What is your definition of
Yes.
alignment and how maybe one person can get into alignment?
Yeah. So alignment has a few different parts. Being in alignment within yourself on a basic level can mean that you have energy flow, right? So we have 72,000 energy channels in our being. So that's a lot of areas where energy can get blocked, and areas where energy can flow. And each channel has different qualities. So you could all of a sudden open up a channel that means you have musical gifts that you didn't have before. And there's a channel for
Interesting.
healing gifts. Yeah. And psychic gifts and all kinds of. So we have this like really amazing potential as humans if we unblock these channels. So being in alignment means that we have energy flow and we don't have like distortions or blockages in the way. So distortions are like those limiting beliefs, the ego that has all these limiting thoughts, and they're not true, right? And so when we peel those away, we get more and more into energy flow and into alignment with our energy flow. Okay. And then the next part of alignment is when we peel away these distortions that are illusions, are not really the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is your essence, your light, your soul energy. So every person has their own unique essence or expression that they are coming onto this planet in this lifetime to live out and express. And so your soul has also certain lessons or karmas, patterns that you have to work through and learn from so that you can evolve. But your soul also has certain unique gifts that you're here to bring. And those could be gifts like to be a loving parent, or it could be to be a healer, or to be someone who makes other people laugh, or, there's endless potentials, right? So then when we clear away these distortions, these conditionings, right, as we grow up, people tell us this is how you should behave. This is how you should look. This is how you should talk, right? And when we try to fit into that box, that might not be aligned with what our soul's authentic expression is. So we have to dim our light, compress our energy, block our energy in order to fit into that box. Not very comfortable. And so when we peel away those conditionings, those distortions, then we become an open vessel for our soul to express through. And we can get clarity, insights of what we're really here for. So, like for me, I cleared away all these conditionings of I'm the chiropractor, I'm the scientist, I'm this, I'm that. And then my soul came through and said, no, you're an energetic healer. And boom, I had to do a lot of healing, clearing to be able to receive that message. And then I had so much knowing. Oh, I know what I'm here for.
Mm.
Like some people don't know. Like, I don't know what am I here? What am I supposed to do? When you clear away all those blockages and you get that clear channel, then it's, I know what I'm here for. And then you can be in alignment with your soul. And so then you start taking action in alignment with what your soul is meant to express. And then the third aspect of alignment is alignment with source or the universe. So when we become so open in our vessel, we can become a channel, a conduit for source energy, and we can be guided by the universe. The universe is always sending us signs, signals. It's aligning us on our path. But when we're all distorted and blocked up, we don't see it. We just have the blinders on. So when we clear those blinders away, oh wow, the universe is literally showing me the way. And then we are in alignment with source. And when we're in alignment here in the body with our soul and with source, life lines up for us. And so then the opportunities show up, these crazy things manifest out of nowhere. And that's what it means to be in alignment. So each time we do healing work or inner work, we clear away a distortion and there's a greater level of alignment. Mm. And so then more things manifest, things accelerate. And then when you get so open and open to flow, you're like in a constant flow state. And it's incredible the things that can manifest.
I love and I resonate 100% with what you're sharing, because how powerful it is to just be able to surrender and to let our deepest truth, deepest authenticity express out into the world. And it's such a vulnerable thing to do. It's such an act of faith. And few of us are brave enough to do it. But I think the more and more people who are ready to embark on that soul journey, on that alignment journey, the more the world is going to change and be more harmonious, I believe. It's very moving. And I think because I'm connected with my body and my emotions, I'm like, yes. And I think I love your way of expressing what alignment is, and also of showing what it means to live in alignment through the way you live your life and you take your decisions and you manifest opportunities. And it's not just a concept, which I think is very important, that we get more and more people, embodying, like you said, this way of life, this way of being.
Yeah. And I think what you said about faith and, being open, surrendering to your soul, to source, is so key, and having faith. And I grew up in kind of a Christian background but I never really resonated with the religion stuff so much back then. And so, the word faith is like kind of a charged word. It's like faith, like going to church and praying. But now I've, evolved to realize like faith is not this religious concept where there's all these rules and, and trying to minimize you. Faith is trusting in the universe or God, goddess, whatever you want to call it. And faith is also having faith in yourself.
Yeah.
And so when we do that inner work, we also learn to have that faith in, like, I got this. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. And that gives you the courage to then have faith in the universe, or when things start to show up and that are aligned, and you can take action on them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a two-way thing, I believe. I often say faith is like a spark, something that's alive in you, something that's a truth that cannot be expressed with words. And it's when you have faith in the universe supporting you, then you can more easily have faith in you. And when you start to have faith in you, you can also more easily have faith in other people and in, life in general. And it's very beautiful. This may be how we are going to wrap up this discussion, beautiful discussion, talking about faith and, inviting people to reconnect to their faith, to put the intention, to be in alignment, and to feel who they are, what is inside them. And be curious to see if some of the people who are listening to us have, nuggets of wisdom or really like aha moments with this conversation. How can people work with you, Stanzie? You have your retreats, you have your events, both in person and online.
Yep.
Tell us a bit more.
Yeah. So the energetic alignment is the name of the session that I do. So it's tends to be in a group setting. So I'll do in-person sessions on tours at different times of the year. So I'm actually going on a tour soon, and then going from different cities to city to city. And then I also do online sessions. So if you can't make it to an in-person, that's free, easily accessible. And people often ask me, are the online sessions as powerful? And they are. It's pretty incredible. Like, some people will come on to an online session that have never had any energy work ever. And they have, full releases or even awakening experiences. So that's sort of the starter session, the place to start. And then the retreat is really the next level experience, where you get to have multiple alignments. Plus, we do different meditations and healing practices. And then the retreats tend to be in sacred places. So we go to these powerful, energetic places where the energy is amplified. So the retreats are pretty amazing as well.
Yeah. I second that. The retreats are amazing.
They're a game changer, because you're just like immersing in a higher vibration for a week, and you leave the retreat like a whole nother aligned version of yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll put everything, like your website and your social media, down in the description box below for all the people who want to connect with you and work more with you. I want to thank you so much, Stanzie, for your time, for your work, and for this beautiful conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was so fun to reconnect with you and to share. And I love, that we resonate so much on these topics. So it's just like, we could sit here and talk all day.
Yeah. Exactly. For the sake of people's time, I'm gonna.
I know. So yes.
But I love that. This is the feeling that we want to get, right? When you are in a beautiful conversation, it's like, oh, I could talk forever with this person. And
yes.
So good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Great. Have a lovely day, Stanzie. See you soon.
Thank you.